got them fled. Good evening, gotcha. Skuld Skullcleaver is the Thane of Yelling, which borders your area. Yelling is a large territory, and Skuld is one of the most powerful Thanes in Jutland. Yelling has prospered under his rule. Mordred, my boy, so sorry about your father. If there's anything the people of Yelling can do to aid you in these trying times, don't hesitate to ask. That's very kind of you, Thane Skuld. Of course, we must stand together against the Frankish threat. Tell me, what are your plans for this place? How will you lead your clan? It's my business. Too soon. Start by expanding the defences. Need a new ship, first of all. Need the favour of the gods, or I wish to be an attentive Thane. I'll start by building a Folkmoot. Well, one of the really big arguments against the father is the fact that he wasn't listening to his Thane, so Folkmoot actually sounds like a good idea. After that, a ship. School not sagely. A wise course. I can already tell you make a better Thane than Magnar. As I said, he is a great warrior, but it's clear where his interests lay. He lets out a deep sigh and leans back in his seat. I'm sure you'll know I fought with your father many years ago. We were very much of a similar inclination, he and I. That man had a real taste for battle, not like his brothers. Mark words, Mordred. Two bonds are forged in battle, not bound in blood. He came to me for advice before he mounted his last journey, on the account of my ties to Kaupang. I should have warned him better about what he was getting himself into. What does Kaupang have to do it? He knew what he was getting into. Should have stayed here. Silent. What does Kaupang have to do with it? Vikings out of Kaupang have been to the Isles across the sea. I've heard many stories about it, and I often go there to trade. Your father wanted to hear if the stories were true. But I've taken too much of your time already. I know you have other guests to entertain. Perhaps we'll talk later, after a bit more mead. Skuld nods to himself more than you and turns his attention to the food on the table. And then Nefja. Oh no, let's go and talk to Ragnhild. Ragnhild the White is the most influential of your guests. As the vassal of the king Sigurd Hringer, she is the current ruler of Denmark. She's come from the trade hub of Ribe to the south, where she presides as a jarl. It was a beautiful ceremony, Mordred. I extend my condolences for the loss of your... on behalf of Ribe and the king. I must tell you, I advised him not to seek out the Isles across the sea. We've heard the stories of the unprotected coasts and their treasures. There is more danger than the rumours let on. I'm not surprised they claimed his life, but I'm glad at least he died with a sword in his hand. Did you know him well? I knew him as a warrior. We fought together on the Bravella, and he struck me as a shrewd tactician. When your king needs you, I hope you'll serve him as well as your father did. I will serve, you have my word. I mean, we're a Danish vassal, so I would say probably yes. Or we could try to avoid it by saying my father taught me everything he knew about combat. Let's do that. I would expect nothing less of a man, but remember that no amount of practice is a substitute for real experience. Thank you for accepting the invitation. You're honoured you could make it, hoping the king himself would attend. No, you're cool. Of course, your father's sword will be missed in our struggles against the Franks. If you excuse me, I must do the rounds. The old shield maiden smiles. She gracefully slides back into her seat, whereupon she spears a large piece of chicken with her knife and dumps it on her plate. She's cool too. Let's have a word with Nefja.
There you are. The feast seems to be off to a good start.
Nefja is one of your oldest friends. Your families have been close and you grew up in the village. She just finished pouring your mother a mug of mead. And another mug of mead. Chug-a-lug-a-lug of mead. Until you fall down. There you are. The feast seems off to a good start. It's nice to see you out of armour for once. She snorts sarcastically. You've seen my sister in this dress before. Surely it's the same thing. She closes her eyes and rubs the bridge of the nose of her finger. God, she was so excited to see me after like this. I'll never hear the end of it. And where is Ephura? A sardonic undertone creeps into Nefja's voice. My poor sister has the fever again. She has such a frail constitution. All of this wet cold is hard on her. Mother stayed home to care for her. What do you think of the guests? Your fellow Thanes are certainly a proud and graceful bunch, even if they plot to murder you and take your lands. Certainly the sense I'm getting. Oh, I'm sure not all of them are actively planning to kill us. I have a weird feeling about Skuld, though. I doubt they could call him Skullcleaver for no reason. Halfdan plays the lovable old grump, but I know he's had his eyes on your harbour for years. Ragnhild I'm not sure about. She probably has nothing to gain from destroying us, but she has little more than Sigurd's appendage, so who knows where he stands. Good luck. Need to remember who each of them are. So that's Asleif. Who was the school? Halfdan was the guy from our adjacency. School was the guy who was leader of the biggest area, wasn't he? Okay. If we kill School the Skull Cleaver, does that make us the School Cleaver? I mean, maybe. Yelling, one of the most important places in the Danish Norse world, yet not that known to most. Was that where one of the really big forts was? One of the ring forts? Following the initial meet and greet, everyone toasts your father and digs into the meal. Food covers every inch of the table, and the freshly brewed mead seems to flow endlessly. You're listening to Nefja's usual complaints about her mother when Ketil perks up and slips discreetly out of the longhouse. Outside, some pieces of pottery crash against the ground, and men begin to shout. In short order, the door flies open. The doorway is filled by Ottar Erlingsson, sword in hand. Outside, you see his brother standing over the prone form of Ketil. Ottar looks around the room with disgust. What a splendid feast for such a shit thane. Ottar's gaze stops on you. He raises his sword to point at you accusingly. Mordred, your family had a chance to earn our respect and you wasted it. Come outside and defend your honor, or we'll burn this hall to the ground. Nefja jumps to her feet, already holding her knife. Her voice seethes with disgust. Ottar, you miserable drunkard! How dare you attack your thane's honor during his own feast? Your family will pay for this. Ottar has turned his back to you and is already walking outside. All the other guests turn their gaze towards you in anticipation. Your mother leans in to whisper in your ear. You have to handle this. If the other thanes think we are too weak to deal with such a blow against a family's honor, this will not stand! Nefja, are you with me? Nefja, stay here. I'll deal with these Nidingar. This one I have to prove myself, even though I fight best with other people. The drunken fool is here for a fight. I think we'll actually have to kill him this time. Retrieve your weapons from the rack by the door. What if I kill him without weapons? Nefja is now following. Press P to view your followers. This screen shows the primary stats, derived stats and skills of your characters. This is where you'll spend points to buy skills and earn them. All of these stats are derived from your primary stats and modified by your skills, your equipment, and any lingering status effects. Hover each of them to read about where they're coming from and what they do. Use the buttons to switch between the 5 different categories. Click on a skill to see what it does and whether it unlocks any abilities. Icons will grayed out if you don't meet the skill requirement. So Nefja is 100% finesse, so she is the polar opposite to me, though she is pretty tough. So she's all about using spears, I would imagine. Or knives. Yeah, knives and spears. So she's a second-line fighter. You've known Nefja and her sister Eifura since you were children. The late father Holman was amongst your father's closest huskarls, and the sisters were often left solely in the care of the mother while he was travelling with the Thane. The twins grew apart from an early age, where Eifura was always her mother's beautiful and delicate girl. Nefja took more after the father and would spend her days exploring the woods, playing on the moor, or fighting with the boys. As soon as she was old enough to hold a wooden stick, she started training to be a warrior. Over the years, the fire had burnt brightly inside Nefja has turned into a disciplined shield maiden, and what she lacks in strength, she is more than made up for in deftness and resolve. Yelling was the seat of the first kings of Denmark. Ah, okay. It's where Christianity was put as the faith of both Denmark and Norway and most of Sweden, on a political level including the biggest gravesite, where the biggest kings of the time lived. Also the place of the most famous runestone. Cool. So what other skills do you have? You have Feint, move to the other side of a target and make a feint, spend an attack opportunity. Interrupt, which everybody has. Tactical move, which everybody has. Guard, camp security, and scouting. Chance to discover resources. Okay, that's pretty good. Fencer. Enemy flanking damage modifier. Oh, so you're actually good at protecting my flanks. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, your Fizz res isn't very good, but you actually have pretty good damage reduction. Although mine is better, but only just. But I have crazy good resistances. Now that you've taken your weapons, it's time to equip them. Click on the inventory icon to open up the inventory and equip your items. All unequipped items in your possession show up here. Use the buttons above the scroll window to filter which type of items you see. Drag items in the slots to equip them. Specific items go into the specific slots. You can also double-click an item to automatically equip it in the right slot. Each character can carry 2 sets of weapons and can freely switch between them in combat. Click this button to select which weapons are your primary set. Shield. Sword. Bow. Mead! Increases strength for 3 turns. Use twice for double effect, but this reduces finesse and sense for the rest of the fight. Interesting. Confront the sons of Ellinger outside. Sustaining injuries does not put a herdman out of action. They will incur penalties in out combat. Oh, is the UI really small? Yeah, this is one of the things I'm going to need to practice at. Because I have a new monitor, so my resolution is huge. But it might be quite small for you. It doesn't look that bad in the preview, though. Did she get any weapons? I think she has a knife. Most of the guests follow you outside and form a half circle behind you. You are dimly aware of the other Thanes muttering amongst themselves. Nefia runs over to Kettle to help him back to his feet. A streak of blood runs from his head down his cheek, but it looks like he can still fight. 4 against 1. This is what the sons of Ellinger Thorlington consider a fair fight. Ottar's brother Torst sneers. He sounds drunk. Shut your mouth, woman. He started it. Go home, you fools. I know our families have never been on good terms, but if we spill each other's blood tonight, the killing will never stop. You're going to be alright, Kettle. You snakes. You will die for this. If you crave a fight so much, there are proper ways to handle this. Does your father know you're here, destroying his name? I feel like this is not the time for diplomacy. As much as I usually like diplomacy, I don't think that this is the time for it. I'm going to poke at their pride here. Ottar shifts his weight restlessly as regards the Thanes assembled behind you. He does not, but he will be proud of us when Icelandir is finally the Thane instead of you. Icelandir steps forwards and draws his weapon. You've gone too far, Ottar. This is no honour in this. I must take Mordred's side here. Ha-ha! Yes! For a moment, confusion mixes with fright in Ottar's eyes, but he quickly composes himself. Fine! We'll kill you all, then I'll be the Thane. Oh, so we got him as well. Experienced defender. So it looks like we got 2 defenders. Oh man, he's got even more damage resistance than I do. Probably because he's in armor. Combat is an important aspect of the game. Defeat does not necessarily mean game over, but you'll usually be able to continue and the story may change in some cases. During combat, blue hexes appear under your allies, and red hexes under your enemies. You can select yourself and your warriors called Herdmen, either by clicking on them directly or by clicking on the portrait. You can make the default attacks against enemies by clicking on the cursor, changes to a sword or an arrow. In addition to normal attacks, remember to use your character's abilities. When the conditions for an ability are not met, it will be grayed out. Hovering over the individual abilities will provide more information about their use and effects. Alright, so I guess we can move everyone at the same time. So we have Ottar, who is just half. We have Tost, who isn't nearly as tough, but can hit fairly hard. We have R, who is the least tough. And we have the Archer over here, yes, Vigor, who is the least tough, but he's an archer. Okay. And this is me. This is Aslafer. Ready, attack action. Automatically attacks the first enemy that enters melee combat range. Brace. Your shield does not sustain damage. Restores your shield to mint condition. Interrupt. Postpone a ranged attack until you have at least 75% chance of hitting. Stun. Melee attack that applies the status effect stunned. Physical resistance unable to act, cannot block. Base DR is 0 even if the attack is blocked. Interesting, so we could go over here and do a stun against this guy. Although he will get an attack of opportunity because we're running through him. Or tactical move. Halves the user's movement but allows them to move through traps and attacks of opportunity without triggering. I think what we're going to do is we're going to do a tactical move. Oh no, that's an attack action, never mind. No, we're going to step up and we're just going to hit this guy, I think. Maybe we should stun him. Stun him. Resisted the stun. Well, that's not good. Well, that's your turn done then, I guess. Right, next up is going to be me, and I'm going to move up to here. What abilities do I have? Interrupt, tactical move, ready. Maneuvering gives all allies 1 more hex of movement for that turn, even if they spent all of their actions. And protect raises the damage reduction of any adjacent friendly target to match the user's damage reduction. Oh, it's not a passive ability. And also I'm not in armor at the moment, so my damage reduction isn't as good. In fact, everybody has better damage reduction than I do, except for Nefia. I guess we'll just hit this guy. What's that? Oh, yellow I think is the attack of opportunity. Then green and red is movement and attack. Extend. Attack target 3 hexes away but at 75% damage. Feint. Move to the other side of a target and make the attack expend to the attack of opportunity. Or tactical move. I think I'm probably going to do extend. Hit you. Yeah, actually hit him. Extend goes a long way. But he's already injured, so we're going to go for Ottar. Okay, I didn't mean you to actually back off. Back here. Okay, then we've got Ketil, who's our archer. Around every character's feet is their action ring. Its status is mirrored by the dots at the bottom of their portrait. The inner ring shows whether the character has an attack action. The outer ring shows the kind of movement available to the character. Oh, I see, so it's movement and then dash. Makes sense. Green ring and red ring means you can move within the green area and still attack or expend your attack action to move all the way to the yellow. Okay, so it's basically just giving me the same information as this. Yellow and red ring means you can attack from where you stand or convert the attack to extra movement to the edge of the yellow. A yellow ring with a grey inner means that you have no attack action left, but you can still move to the edge of the yellow area. If both rings are grey, it means the character has neither an attack or movement left. Oh! Okay, so you could actually move further if you wanted to. I get it. So we could have this guy back off. I want you to shoot Ottar. Where's your chance to hit? 83%, 83. I don't know what the shield... Oh, the shield is the class. So he's a defender. Spears can hit up to 2 tiles away by default. Okay. Harried! He's down. Okay. And I actually kind of like you standing behind here. We're kind of controlling this entranceway with our 2 shield guys. So that works for me. An enemy has just fallen. This will likely happen often, both to you and to enemies. When herdmen get incapacitated, they can be revived during combat or left downed until the end of combat. Incapacitated herdmen will automatically get back on their feet after the fight. If an enemy is killed, the red hex of their feet will disappear, whereas incapacitated characters will writhe in pain on the ground, like that guy is doing. If you decide to leave a herdman incapacitated, they risk getting an injury. The longer they stay down, the worse the injury can become. Do your best to keep everyone on their feet, but accept that injuries happen in a fight. And then I think I'm good. Oh, I never actually looked at your abilities. Ranging shot, free action. All enemies adjacent to the target hex get the status spotted. Cannot use low cover ranged attacks versus that character have plus 25% accuracy. So I could actually do that against you. So, escape. Click it again, click it again. Quick shot. Make 2 ranged attacks at 30% reduction accuracy. Death blow deals double damage but can only target immobilized. Interrupt. Rebuke. Kick that moves the target 1 hex away. Makes a ranged attack that deals 25% damage but takes away all the target's moves until the next turn. Movement thing, and then spot traps. I might try a ranging shot. Or maybe I'll do that at the start of the next turn. It's a free action. Let's do it on the next turn. Ah, the blue is the shield. Okay. So you are now harried. An attack was just blocked. When this happens, instead of dealing damage to the target, the shield absorbs the blow. The better the shield, the more damage it can absorb. Absorption is indicated by the blue above the yellow. Ranged attacks cannot damage shields. When a shield's absorption reaches 0, it will no longer absorb any damage. Like a character's hit points, the shield is automatically restored at the end of combat and can be used again for the next fight. Okay. So I'm now harried. Where does it say what that means? Oh, you can have a lot of abilities. To view more detailed information about a friend or foe, click on the character while the info button is active. Mordred, heroic. Heck yeah. Guessing that's morale. There. Harried, base DR is 0. And you apparently also have a thing. Demoralized, max accuracy minus 50. Brace just restores your shield. I think I'm just going to go ahead and attack and see if we can hit something. Oh, you actually don't have an attack at all. Okay, never mind. Archer. We can shoot this guy with a 33% chance to hit, but we can hit that one with a 15. You are also demoralized. Oh wow, that demoralized everyone? Except for you. I guess you resisted it. You also have another trait. Light trauma to the head. Oh, because you were knocked down. So your sense has gone down. Gotcha. Be at hitting. It's not showing accuracy. Well, do melee attacks always hit? They always hit, okay. You lost your turn. Why? Oh, because I readied. Yeah, fine. Then you're going to come over here and just threaten this fool. And you... 0% chance to hit because he's in cover. 15, 33. So just have a go. Not really expecting this one to go. But we did harry him. So now if we press this button and click on you, we can see that harried has set your base DR to 0. You healed him. Wait, that's cheating! This is like XCOM. Yeah, it's basically Viking XCOM. Oh, you avoided the shield there. That's also cheating! I'm gonna have you continue to go after the Axeman. Sorry, no, after the archer. Although having you here would block him. I think you're probably more of a threat, especially because he can heal. And that's just annoying.
None will stand in my way.
Ooh, a crit. Nice. Let's see if we can spear you to death. Yeah, now we're kicking ass and taking names. We'll finish him off. And that was a kill. This guy is down, this guy is dead. A character has just entered cover. Cover comes in either high or low cover, which is visualized by shields next to the hexes. That's what these things are. When it applies, cover blocks attacks completely. There is no partial cover. Either you're in cover or you're not. Cover protects you against ranged attacks from the direction of the space of the cover. A character in low cover will automatically stand up to shoot over it, but also be forced to stand up if an enemy stands next to them. High cover still works if the character is standing, but requires movement to shoot at enemies on the other side. Yeah, I again resisted your demoralize. Stop that! Ow! Alright, Mordred, let's go and take a chunk out of this guy again. And then you come rushing forwards to here. Oh nice, we can reach you too. Now that we have the adjacency, you can no longer hide from us, and I think I'm just going to straight up stun you. Stunned. Beautiful. Which should make it easier for these guys to hit. That's true. Missed. Staying there. Hopefully tie you into the fight.